Welcome to the Dental and Mental Podcast.
We are going to be talking to you about the business and the mindset of dentistry.
Welcome back to the Dental and Mental Podcast with Dr. Davina Detrik.
Hi.
And this guy.
Good to see you guys.
We're talking social media. We're talking presence. We're talking personality, doubling down on that, what it really looks like. And how a personal brand actually, Dylan was just saying this, how a personal brand in dentistry in particular cannot possibly be built without your personality.
Yeah.
But people wouldn't necessarily think that. You think, I'm just building a business. It's just a business. It's practice. Like, don't you think that people segregate that a little bit in their minds?
I think so. And I mean, I don't really understand it because yes, there's the work, right? And when you have people who are all at a really high caliber, say you're choosing from somebody, I think you're going to choose somebody who you feel like there is some sort of connection with, somebody who you resonate with more than somebody else. If the work is equal, right? You're trying to decide between a couple of different people to go get something done.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe honestly, if you had to weight one of the two, I think people choose personality and the perception of trust rather than quality. It's a lot harder to decipher quality, but you can definitely be like, that person seems cool. That person seems like they actually care.
That is actually very true.
Right? It's more of a feeling. I mean, even like culturally, right? We've got a lot of docs in Thrive that, they're a first or second generation immigrant from Poland, and 30% of their patient pool are Polish. Right?
Yeah.
Polish immigrants, or Persian or whatever. Like, that's kind of your community. That's your people group. And they resonate with you. And there's a familial almost, right, cultural connection that they may not be looking really all that hard at all about quality. It's that this person gets me from where I come from.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that is a huge piece. And I think that when you go into these appointments, you do want to know that you are understood.
Yeah.
Right? Like you do want somebody that you feel like gets you.
For sure. Right. I mean, it's not that Greg, our associate, just said this the other day. He's like, medicine doesn't have a diagnostic problem. They have a listening problem. And I think he's really right about that. Medicine is the victim of very quick appointments. Look it up on ChatGPT, hopefully you get the right answer. Very much cover your ass. That's the approach that they take. It's definitely not what we do at Vita, what a lot of practices do, which is spend true time getting to hear where that person's coming from. I actually think it's quite difficult to help a person say yes to anything, unless you understand kind of why they want it in the first place.
You actually talk a lot about this. We'll get back to the personal brand thing, but you actually talk a lot about this in Credo, which is kind of having a new resurgence.
You should probably tell them what Credo is, because I'm not sure that it just sounds like a word.
Credo it's all Galen's course around sales and case acceptance. Sales isn't the word that a dentist would use. It's the word I would use, but the word you would use is case acceptance. So it's a course. But
now you're a dentist, so you're going to use a different word.
But now I'm a dentist, so I'm going to say case acceptance too.
But it's presentation and acceptance.
Case presentation and acceptance. This is a monster course. It's about 30 hours.
20.
Throw another 10 on there and just...
We could do that.
What does it matter?
Yeah.
After you've hit 5 hours, it's all really...
I mean, by the time you've watched and rewatched a couple things, you're at 30.
you're at 30 hours, okay? All right, but you only get 20 hours of CE. That's the point.
Yeah.
But it's having a resurgence because, yes, that is a very large course. 20 hours when, most courses are an hour. And it's like, I'll teach you how to do extractions in an hour. And you're talking about a 20-hour course on case acceptance and presentation.
Yeah.
And people are now starting to re-find it. Again,
yeah.
I don't know if we're really talking about it that much, but for whatever reason, people are refinding it. And we are getting the same feedback when we were really pushing hard on it, which is light bulb moments of people being like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And obviously really doing well, crushing case acceptance. This course is absolutely fantastic. But to that point, I think you talk about a lot of this in that, which is spending time with patients, really understanding their why and helping lead them through that.
Generally speaking, dentists are like anyone else. And that is that our favorite subject is ourself. So a lot of dentists fall prey to overeducating because they like to hear themselves talk.
Ouch.
Right. Or you feel uncomfortable. There's like this silence, or maybe you just feel like a little out of your shell talking to a person who's a complete stranger. And so you overcomplicate things. And so you talk to fill that space rather than holding the space and allowing that person to fill it with their favorite subject, which would be them.
Right.
So it's a great course that is making a resurgence. It's funny. It's like almost 7 years old now.
You know what? But fine wine, that thing is still hitting.
That's what people say. It's crazy. People are like,
it's fantastic.
Just as good. I mean, I do. I think it's timeless because the subject is timeless. It's
Right.
It's not, here's a new technology.
Well, it's one of those subjects where it's like, everybody's like, what are the changes? What are the changes? And I think the more interesting question is, what is staying the same?
Right.
And there are some things that stay the same. So if you get good at those things, you don't have to keep reinventing them. Right.
100%. Yeah.
But back to our topic, which is personal branding. Also off topic, but
back to the topic, but also off topic.
Yeah. Dylan taught me something yesterday, and now I can't stop thinking about it because I feel this way as we're recording this. When you're sitting like this.
Oh, shrimping. Am I shrimping right now?
Yeah. Dylan said, no, I am. I just feel.
It's tough. I feel like I need to lean into you, but I'm also shrimping.
I know. That's why I feel like I'm shrimping too. Like a little curled bad posture shrimp. So I want to unshrimp myself.
It's not so much about just exhibiting or embodying your personality to have a successful business. It's actually accentuating or doubling down on your personality, which helps you thrive in business. You could see this a little bit yesterday. We were talking about this, and I think you guys both were, but I kind of, when I go into a consult or I go into an exam or an emergency or whatever it is, I'm talking to a person, I'm trying to get them a solution. To me, it's fun. It's fun. I'm not, oh God, I didn't know one of those. I'm like, okay, what's the presentation going to be? How are they going to hear what I'm about to say?
You like solving puzzles as a kid?
I did like solving puzzles. Yeah, sure.
Tracks.
Did. Sure did. I was homeschooled. All we do is puzzles. But there's something very engaging to me about essentially putting on a different suit for each person, different hat.
It's showmanship.
Showmanship is a good way of looking at it. And all these things have these weird connotations for people. Oh my gosh, you're selling, your showmanship. It feels like you're doing something to manipulate or convert a person away from what they want, which is just BS. I mean, that's your own mental stuff. If you think that, it's fun. It's incredibly enjoyable. Devin's great at that. Greg's great at that. You're really good at that.
It's also really fun to be on the receiving end of it too, right?
For sure.
I mean, even think about it. Let's not talk about the context of dentistry, but if you're going out to a restaurant, do you want your waiter to be like, I'm so excited you're here. I've got something amazing. We've got amazing specials tonight. This is what's happening. The chef's, I want some of that. Don't come in here and
song and dance.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm here for, sir.
The worst is when you go out and the person, you can tell that they don't really want to be there,
Yeah.
Where in their mind, there's somewhere better. And you can feel it. Imagine going to someone like Duvall, right? You're going to go get some veneers done in Dubai by Dr. Duvall. You see his social media, you kind of get the vibe that like, homie knows what great dentistry is. He has a very luxurious brand. His patients bring him these luxurious, crazy ass gifts all the time, right? It's this full-fledged, like peacocking almost experience. And if you went and it wasn't that, how disappointed you'd be. Like if it was like, thanks for coming in. He'll be right with you. And sterile and none of the flash and none of the experience. And you're like, I got sold a bill of goods. That's what you'd think. Even if all those other things are going to cost you more, that's what you're signing up for. That's what you want. You want the song and dance. Yeah?
Right. I mean, I think I liken it to like shopping in the boutique, right? It's like, yes, some things are accessible to order online. But if you're really talking about spending a lot of money, you want to go in, you want the gift wrapping, you want the essay to come and bring you out all the things and try them all on. You want the champagne, you want all of that, right? Yeah. So when people are like, you're paying $5,000 bag and paying $5,000 for a bag and it costs $35 to make, you know what? I'm paying for all that other stuff too. Okay. So leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Well, and then, okay, so now we'll shift it back to more practical, right? So we can talk about Duval, we can talk about APA, we can talk about luxury experiences buying bags. Most dentists, you go to work and you see your roster of patients and you're doing a couple of crowns and whatever it is, and it can feel like there's no brand, right?
Right.
For most practices, I would genuinely say they don't think they have a brand. And maybe there's some truth to that in the sense of the way we perceive brands to be. These things that are so niche and stylized and beautiful that you could say there's only one of these. But in reality, I do think that people have a brand. You're always kind of fostering or curating some version or experience of what it looks like to be in business with you, right? To be seen by you, to be treated by you. It does not have to have the luxury bag experience and all the rest. We don't do a lot of that at Vita. What people get is they get our personalities.
Yeah.
Right? They get the care and the attention that we'll give them with our time and our expertise. And I was talking to a patient the other day and she's like, this is a top-notch experience, start to finish. She's like, I've been to dentists in Maine. I've been to dentists in LA. I've lived in Chicago. She's been the deputy secretary to the governor. She's done all these things. Incredible. And she said, this experience is unlike any other dentist. Are any other dentists like this? Remember hearing that question?
Yeah.
Is there any other dentist that's like this? And I was like, oh yeah, there's plenty that are out there like this. It may not be the rule. It might be the exception, but they are definitely there and there's plenty of them. And she said something interesting. I don't think you were in the room, but she said, the thing that you guys do that I feel is so unique is that you connect dots that no one else ever connected for me.
Right.
So all that is information, right? Data, connecting dots, information. The delivery is all personality. So I can give you in the same way that I say, I love you, or I love you, or I show it to you, right? There's very different ways of expressing the same data, the same information. And that is the personality. It's also the intention behind those things. And so, yes, while I like connecting dots that maybe another 1,000 dentists will do just the same way that I do, the presentation and how I'm engaging that person, pulling them into that same conversation so that they feel like they're going on a journey with me, not being talked at, very different.
Right, 100%.
I hope.
I think that you find this from top performers in all of the industries, right? I mean, what is a lawyer? Who's telling the best story? So let's talk about how that translates into social media. I know there's a lot of resistance for dentists to be on social or to really understand what the intention is when they're on social, and especially with the new wave of influencers. I think a lot of people are getting confused of, what do I show up on social for? What am I doing there? Am I an influencer now that is hoping to get discovered? Like, there's a lot of weird things that happen on social. We've done a lot of weird things too. It's an evolution. It's always, we've been been cringe before. Maybe you think we're cringe now. Don't know. Maybe I'll think it's cringe in 10 years, what I'm saying and wearing today. Who knows?
My personal Instagram is definitely not something where people are flocking to. They're like, this is the mecca of information. I know exactly who he is. You're not going to find that. You'll find it on Thrive. You'll find it on our joint account for our business. Right. That's where you're seeing cuts of this and a lot of our interactions and stuff in the office. And that is the expression of who we are, you and I. Right.
Agreed. Because my personal social media, I think I have 7 posts.
Nice.
I've had this account since 2013.
I like that for you.
And I have 7 posts.
Speak a little bit to why. Why would there only be 7 posts there? Do you have an aversion to it? And if you do, what is the aversion? Are there concerns and worries about being, what everyone thinks you're supposed to do? How do you sort through that?
I just don't see any real value for me to have a personal page. Everything gets funneled through Thrive because that is where people who potentially want to do anything with Thrive will go. That's where they will go to see us. Yeah. And to get a vibe of who we are, what we talk about, all of that. So to me, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But me as a person, I don't live my life for you guys.
Yeah.
I don't need you to see my food. I don't need you to know that I have a good marriage. I don't need you to know what I'm reading to my kids. I don't need it, nor want it, nor I just don't have any, there's just no reason for me.
Yeah.
To do it.
I think I told you this, but I was out with my guy friends for man night. It was a great time. We had so much fun. It was kind of an all day deal. We golfed in the morning and we went and got drinks. It was this whole thing for my birthday, basically. And it was an awesome time. And they went all out. And gosh, I mean, you put most of the Gen Z and millennial population in that boat, and they probably would have documented as much of it as possible and put it on social media because you would have felt like that's what you should do. Like it's almost like a way of saying thank you to the guys and like letting the world know I'm having a great time. I don't know, right?
Yeah, right.
I don't even really understand it, to be honest with you.
I don't either. I don't either.
So I had the thought while we were doing all this, and I was like pulling out my phone for a couple of things, and I was like, I should like document this. And then there's another thought. I'm like, man, like if I don't put it on Instagram, like will I remember this? Like it's just weird thoughts. And I sat with it a little bit more, and I ended up posting nothing, literally zero from that day. And I was so happy I didn't, because I got to be there. I remember every bit of it, and it was such a great day, and it was for me and for my friends, and it was not for anybody else, right? So I just wish that the pressure for people could be relieved, but I don't know that the pressure can be relieved unless you have that demand for you in another place. I guess what I mean by that is in our practice and in your coaching practice and in life in general. You know, you perform for the perception of being liked, perception of being in demand. And it's actually a little bit tragic that that's where the attention and focus goes. I'd much rather put that towards your business and your personality in the business and then let social media just exist.
I think that my favorite social media creators are people who teach you something.
Okay.
The people that I personally gravitate towards are not people who show every aspect of their life. I actually don't know a lot about their life, but I know a lot about what they're experts in because they like to teach on certain things that I find really interesting, or they're learning about it themselves right at the moment. And so whatever they learn, they are teaching in the moment. They may not be experts in that area. Those are the people that I really gravitate towards because I find them really interesting. And I love that they have the capacity to be on social media without having the need for everybody to come into all of the really personal spaces into their life.
I think it's a couple of things. So one, I think it helps having the almost like past podcast, the hierarchy, where it's like there is that pillow blanket between like you have me, so I'm like you're not having to cut and edit and like edify it, but it's also the brand. So it's like if I go out and I document this, like, is this on brand with Thrive or is this on brand with Vita?
So
you don't run your own social account. So like for a personal account, like document that. But like for the brand, because that's where people see you through, it's like, does it make sense for the brand? Does it add substance? Do people even care?
Yeah.
So it's like that's a big piece of it too, and I think that's why you guys just don't care to do, because you're just like, it doesn't feel like it adds anything to that. Like I'm enjoying the experience. We are
right
in the space, so like nobody else doesn't really add anything to that.
That's a really good point, that based off of our last podcast about hiring an office manager and what that role would really look like. You're, our content manager in many other things too. But that part is extremely helpful. And it's given us the freedom to actually be present somewhere, but not be so addicted to needing to do all these things. I think we might think about social differently if we were responsible for showing up to represent the brand always. Do you think so?
Yeah, I think if we were responsible for social, like say we didn't have Dylan. Well, if we didn't have Dylan, no one would know who we were. Probably.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Either it wouldn't exist or it would, and we'd probably feel very differently about it. Like, of course, you have to be it, guys. You have to be. We'd be preaching. Like, you have to be on social. You have to present this many times a day. You have to whatever. It'd be one of the two.
It would be an absolute mess, though, because Here, it would be an absolute mess because you are too, but I'm just speaking for myself. I'm always onto something new.
Yeah.
There's a new interest, there's a new hobby, there's whatever. So can you imagine if tomorrow I'm on the Thrive account, let's pretend Dylan's not there. I'm like, so everybody, today we are learning how to smoke a brisket, right? Like what? Where are we going? Like, what are we doing with this? So I think that to Dylan's point of what he just said, all of the things that I do not funnel into the brand. They are my own personal side quests,
100%. Well, so I'm a very OCD person. So you would put a post up about smoking a brisket and then you'd be moving on to handbags and I'd be like, but we need to create 6 PDFs on exactly what the different temperatures are and time frames for smoking that brisket. We should also poll the people and I would go hardcore on that and I wouldn't feel like I could let it go until I'd done it all the way, which would be stupid.
Right.
So it's good that we don't run our social media. That's what we're getting at. Yeah. Hire Dylan. This is how you do it.
But you
guys.
Can't because he already is taken.
Yeah, exactly.
So
right.
Find your own Dylan.
Straight.
So I really do think that, we said a lot of things, but not a lot of things. So I think that the take home message here is to really be mindful about the brand that you're curating and edit for that brand. I think Dylan really drove that point home and I think it's great. Mm-hmm. And remove the pressure off of yourself to think that you have to be a personal brand and that you have to show everybody your life because you don't.
So how does a person who's listening to this actually figure out and distill what their personality is? Are there some ways that you can kind of look internally, ask a few questions, look at the people around you, look at your past history? What is it that helps you understand and identify what you do the best that is actually going to be the thing that is a secret sauce to your business?
I think that dentists already know what that is because it is what are you doing with your patients, right? You're actually running this kind of same routine with patient interactions, right? You know what's hitting with patients. What are they responding to? What do they like about you? What keeps them coming back? What is the constant feedback from the people who are closest to you in real life, even in a work environment, right? Mm. And so really looking at that, how am I connecting to my patients? What is it that I'm talking about? What is it that I'm bringing to the table? What is the dial that I'm turning up that actually increases my magnetism?
You're still, the thing you should magnify in your marketing is who you are with patients, who you are in your business.
Yes.
But that you also have this like, almost Jekyll and Hyde. And here's the thing. I don't want people to hear like, oh, you're putting on a song and dance for patients, but that's not really who you are. You really are who you are with your wife or whatever. I think you are both things, right?
Of course.
You can't separate. You are these two things. You are Jekyll and you are Hyde. But I guess, do you think everyone has that?
100%. I think human beings are incredibly dynamic, right? And I think that the more you're able to control which of the dials you want to turn up in which situations, the more powerful you become. You and I, one of the jokes that we have is that we get invited to a lot of galas that we never actually sponsor tables at ourselves. Yeah. And it's always funny because we have certain friends that will fight over us to sit at their table. I'm not being arrogant about that. It just is the case because you and I very much understand the assignment. Mm-hmm. Then when we go to galas and we are at a friend's table, our job is to turn up the showmanship dial. Our job is to represent our friends and their businesses, yes, and be fantastic guests and do all of the things that make us really fun to be around. If it's just show up as you are and be your authentic self, well, hey, guess what? Some days, those days are not great days, and your authentic self may be a mopey little shrimp. But you can't go shrimping at a gala, okay? Your job, your assignment is to turn up the showmanship. And I think because you and I understand assignments and roles and what we've committed to for certain obligations, we show up that way no matter what. And that's what actually holds the space for other people. Okay. Is because they don't have to wonder like, oh my gosh, are you guys going to come to this thing and have a bad day or be, no. We are really masterful with our emotions and know exactly, we pre-decide who we're going to be at something. So it's not a question mark.
I think I'm a lot less of a pre-decider maybe than you are. I
think I pre-decide more because I'm more of an emotional person and I just refuse to let emotions dictate how I show up.
Yeah.
That's just not, to Dylan's point, it's just not a standard I hold to let emotions run the show. I can feel how I'm going to feel, but the assignment is still the assignment.
I respect that about you
Thank you.
quite a bit.
That's why I'm not a shrimp on this podcast.
All right. Well, we covered a lot of ground and no ground, I feel like, you know.
we gave you a lot to think about and no direction to go.
Yes. Thank you for listening and or watching the Dental and Mental podcast. If you enjoyed this episode or any others for that matter, feel free to tap that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple, Amazon, as well as Spotify. While you're there, why not leave us a review up to 5 stars? And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know what topic you want us to discuss next.
If you like what you heard today and you want to be involved in the Thrive world from coaching to courses or just to connect with us, go to thethrivedentist.com.